And we're on the air. Good evening, everybody. Thank goodness it's Friday again. This is one Friday I'm really ready for. It's the first free weekend I've had without some kind of excursion. And so hopefully I'll have a nice weekend of chilling out. Hopefully y'all will too. And I'm Rusty from Stunthangar Control Line Forums, and I'll be your host for the next couple of hours while we talk about aeromodeling, control line specifically, but any kind is acceptable. Even the real big stuff, airplanes, planes, trains, and automobiles, whatever you like to work on in your shop or at the field or at the lake, we'll be here to talk about, except we try to keep the talk on politics and social commentary to a minimum. But other than that, we'll hopefully get some good conversations and have fun tonight. Already got 4 viewers popping in. Y'all must hang around and wait on me to click the go button because y'all usually come in pretty quick. But anyway, glad to be here. And while I wait for everybody to come in, I'll remind everybody the same old stuff. The chat box is open on the Stunthangar YouTube homepage, and so you can communicate with us through that. If you choose not to come in on the live video, we've got a text box over there where you can watch it on the YouTube video and then communicate with us, and we'll try to include your comments, questions, and answers, and whatever else you have to say into our conversation here. And for those of you that want to come in live, of course, the link, as always, is posted on the Stunthangar Control Line forums and a private members-only thread called At the Bench, and that's under the header of live streams, and that's where the link to each night's video is, and I post it the moment I click the start button here. So if you look for it ahead of time, you won't find it, but each night's link has a new address, and so click that and come on in. And so I've been piddling around on YouTube watching some videos. Oh, Jack Snavely. Hey, Jack, glad to see you tonight over on the YouTube side. Jack's joined us. I got a couple of favorite YouTube sites. Occasionally I'll tell y'all some that I like to watch, and I get tired of one and move to another. But right now, one called Nick's Garage, and it's a Mopar guy in Canada, and he's strictly a high performance guy, other than friends and family who sometimes bring their daily drivers in. He mostly works on high-end Mopars is his favorite, but he works on Chevys and any other performance cars too. Big blocks are his favorite, but he can squeeze the last horsepower out of just about anything. The shop's got a dynamometer, an engine dyno, not the one where you put the whole car on, but one that you bolt the engine to, which if I had a shop, I would prefer that type, if not both. If I had to pick one, I'd pick the engine dyno and find out exactly what the engine itself is putting out. You can kind of calculate what's hitting the road at the wheels if you know what the engine's putting out at the crankshaft. So Nick's Garage is a great, entertaining, fun website to watch as he works on cars, tunes them, and sometimes races them. And another one is Old Car Memories, and they've got a website called oldcarmemories.com, but it's mostly a read the history of old cars. But they've got a YouTube site also called Old Car Memories, and they narrate good explanations of the cars from the muscle car years, 60s, 70s, even 50s, 60s, 70s, and even get into the new ones sometimes too. And so Old Car Memories, Nick's Garage, and there's another one called Engineering Explained. He's a young engineer, and he's mostly all automotive, but how cars are put together, how all of the bits and pieces are fabricated and engineered is easily explained, and so I like to watch those too. So those of you who are motorheads will like all three of those YouTube channels. And Sparky's with us. Good evening, old boy. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good.
Good. I see you're back in your Eastern workshop tonight.
Yeah, I had a long drive this morning.
You have to drive there this morning and then work a full day before you got to come home to see us?
No, I didn't work today. I brought a workbench from St. Louis.
Oh, yeah, coffee table / workbench.
Yeah.
Good. What's that top made out of?
Plastic.
Okay. Plastic will do.
Hey, gang.
Oh, hey, Bob. How are you this evening?
No, Rusty.
Good.
I'm tired. I just got through building a little glider for a friend of my wife she used to work with is coming over for dinner with her family tomorrow, and they have a little boy, so I made him a little glider.
Mm-hmm. Is it a rubber band launched glider or a hand
just
launch?
A little hand launch thing, you know. I had it set up so you could put catapult, rubber on it, you know.
I got a sack full of those back in the workshop that I've always thought about converting to various powered type ships, but I never have done it. But they're fun to play with, especially if you've got neighborhood kids.
Yeah, he's about 7 or 8 years old, so he should enjoy it. And we have a deck that's real high up off the ground, so he should be able to throw him off the deck.
Yeah, so
in the backyard. So
good high start.
We can fly half A in the backyard.
Oh, great. Yeah, I can fly half A across the street from my house as long as I stay at or under 40-foot lines. And,
yeah, that's what we are too, 35-foot lines, because I have a shed out there. When I had the shed put in, my wife said, "Why'd you have it put it at an angle?" I said, "Because it looks better." But actually what it was so we can get a circle in there without hitting
yeah, your secret agenda.
Yeah, and we can only fly now. We can only fly electric powered, half H size airplanes, but that's fine. We're working on your Spark.
My new airplane.
That's fine. Looks good.
Getting ready to paint. This is almost the hardest part.
Yeah, your work is almost half done, right?
Yeah.
Looks like you got the last touches of superfill on it.
Oh yeah, it's just sanding. Probably put one more coat of clear on it and then go to color.
That secret primer of yours gonna go on?
No, I probably use the primer on the superfill areas, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at 53.5 ounces now, and
That's with the motor on board.
Yeah, it's everything.
Oh, that's not bad.
I want to stay, under that magic mark, and this is the time when the mystery ounces start piling on that come from nowhere. Yeah,
the crap fairy, I used to call it. Crap fairy comes along overnight and dumps 5 ounces into your airplane.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. I told Jerry when I got back, I went to the shop and showed him the airplane. I said, "Boy, I'm glad I didn't get stopped on the way here." He said, "Why?" I said, "Can you smell this car?" I mean, it probably would have thought I was driving under the influence. Terrible.
I know you told us, but what is the fabric you covered it with? Is that Dr. paper or regular silk span or what?
Double-aught silk span on the wings, triple-aught silk span on all the wood.
Where are you getting good silk span these days? You just have a catch of it that you have saved, or because that new stuff is crap?
I have a K&S. I bought a roll of K&S. When the silk span
it's still good.
Oh yeah, when the silk span scare came about, I went on eBay and bought all I could.
Yeah, because that new stuff is awful. Since they took out the carcinogen that was in the process, it lost all the good properties.
That was the tea bag paper, if I understand it right.
Yeah.
The Dr. paper acts the same exact way.
Just a little heavier, right?
Yeah, it's a little heavier, but it's a little tighter weave, so I think it takes less dough.
So it might be a wash, you know. I know that Lou August and the guys out in Tucson are using it, and they love it.
Do you find it has a distinct grain in one direction?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just like silk span. It'll only tear one way.
Yeah, one way. Yeah.
We did that experiment. It's on my videos, John and I, where we covered one with Dr. paper and one with silk span. You can't tell the difference.
Yeah. Well, that's good. At least now we can still get decent covering material. I've tried everything else under the stars, and I can't find anything better than good silk span.
I've got some Dr. paper that I'm going to use on the Cardinal's fuselage and all, but still going to do monocoat on the wings. But the next model I build, which is going to be a flight streak, I've never had a full-size flight streak, is going to be silk span wings, and that'll be my first.
We got to come up with a new name now. We got to call it Dr. Span.
Okay, that's why we'll call it Dr. Span.
The nice
I
thing
don't know
about
what
that,
grade I've got because I swiped it from the doctor after I sat on it and in an appointment. So we'll see.
the nice thing about that Dr. paper is that it's $1.39 for 10,000 feet.
Yeah,
It's not Dr. paper. It's Dr. Span. Come on, Dr. Span.
Dr. Span. Yeah, I think I'll spring for a fresh roll of it, and that way I can know what weight I'm getting because it comes in several different.
You get like 650 or 200 foot rolls for $36.
Yeah, and it comes in different weights, doesn't it? Different thicknesses.
And there's a specific part number. John's got the part number.
Yeah, I got it too. They sent it from Tucson.
When I get ready to buy that, I'll get with y'all and find out what the number is.
Amazon.
Yeah. Because one of them works and one of them doesn't, or one of them's better than the other.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. But, yeah, it looks good, Spark. Where's our crew tonight?
It's Friday night. Sometimes they're slow to mosey in here on Fridays, but
Charles will be here. Maybe Jerry.
Yeah, I've spoke with Charles on a couple of times today via email. He didn't say, but I think he'll probably be here. I had to send him an email looking for a link to a video because I wanted to see this Cardinal kit wing that Wendy was building, and I couldn't find a video anywhere. It took me a while to find out that Cardinal is spelled wrong in every one of the listings on CL Guy and P. Taylor, Paul's websites. It's spelled Cardinal.
Hey,
Charles. Anyway, Peter Grabenstein finally put me onto the link, and I'll give it to you. You asked me for the link, Charles. I'll type that into the chat box, or I'll type it into an email for you.
All right, sounds good.
Hey, man, we just came up with a new terminology. You know that doctor office paper that everybody's been using?
Yes.
You're going to call it Dr. Span.
Yeah, and we need to get a picture of a doctor with a handlebar mustache and an old Western type logo on it.
I like that, Dr. Span. Yeah, it's good.
His handlebar mustache should be a hot rock handle.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I bet if you was to buy it all on Amazon and then market it as Dr. Span, you probably sell a killing of it.
You know, I couldn't do that with a clear conscience.
That's what businesses do all the time, right?
I know, but I couldn't do that. I got to tell you, I am just completely worn out. I've been getting orders for foam wings and built-up wings at a rate that's just not believable. I mean, the floodgates have finally opened and everybody's ordering stuff, and I'm just inundated, you know.
Well, I thought the control line was dead.
Well, there's still a few of us out there. I guess now that summer is coming to an end and the building season and
that's what it is. Okay.
People are starting to think about their winter bills now, and so Bob's having to cut wings.
and they all want it tomorrow, you know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. Of course.
Even when I think I want something tomorrow, it still takes me 2 or 3 times as long as I thought it would before I actually get to it. So it's never as much of an emergency as I think it will be.
Mm.
So did you fly any this week, Charles?
A little bit. Well, of course, I flew on the holiday, but I flew only a couple times today. You know, I was examining my flying lines on my Strega Monday, and I discovered a couple frayed wires. So I was able to borrow some lines from David Saban, but that was just for that day. And I meant to make my own flying lines this week, but everything else got in the way.
Are the frays at the terminations, or are they just out in the middle?
Terminations at the handle end, surprisingly. Not really surprisingly, but usually it's there. And
Is that that 9-strand wire? That real limpy wire?
I'm not sure if it's 9-strand. It probably is. It's a high count.
Yeah.
It's not as high as the 17 count that Tom Morris has. It's not as flexible.
Those higher count things, they're breaking real easy.
Okay. There's also a 19-strand, isn't there?
Is that what it is? 19-strand.
Maybe.
18, yeah.
Anyways,
I'm glad I caught the broken wires, you know, before I flew it. But so I'm trying to get in position to make a lot of line sets. I'm getting so thin on line. I haven't made some wire in probably a year. So
try that stuff from Ruslan, that Ukrainian stuff. That's amazing wire. That's the best flying wire I've ever flown on in my life. It's like a different hobby.
Wow.
He sent me the one I bought off of Amazon. I guess it's 6 strand. Is that what they sell on Amazon?
It's 4-strand. The stuff from Ruslan is 4-strand.
Listen to what I'm saying. The stuff off of Amazon is 6 or 8 strand, and I said thanks for the lines and this, that, and the other, and he said you got the wrong ones. The 4-strand only comes from the Ukraine. He doesn't sell it on Amazon.
Yeah, that 4-strand is amazing. I flew on it a couple of weeks ago. It's about 3 weeks ago now, and I couldn't believe, and we flew an airplane on regular cable, and then we put it on that line, and it was like the difference was the biggest difference I've ever felt in one change in an airplane in my life.
Wow.
Is it the drag mostly, or what is it?
There's no stretch, so it's more like flying on solids, which I've done most of my life.
Yeah,
I really like solids, but it slides much easier together. It's just it's an amazing one. I mean, when airplane trim problems go away. There's no hunting or locking problems or anything. The airplane just turns and locks. It's almost like a video game in a way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, what if he sells it in bulk? I really would like to get a nice bulk of it. I wouldn't want to just buy the one reel set,
Well, I'll talk to him. I've become pretty good friends with him, and he sent me a bunch of stuff to try. Because I told him, I said, I'm going to write this up, whether you send stuff to me or not. I mean, he offered. I said, I'm going to write this up in my column. I said, because this is amazing stuff. People need to know about this.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
We flew Frankie's new twin on 18,000 cables, and we put it on these 16,000 Ruslan lines, these lines from Ukraine. The difference was amazing, just amazing. Hi, Steve.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Steve.
Have you guys tried that, Steve? Have you guys tried that new Ukrainian lines from Ruslan over there in Ukraine?
No, but all the Chinese team flew them.
Yeah.
They bought a crap load of them to take back home, and I probably should have.
Get Sam to fly on some of them. They're amazing. We were just talking about them.
Oh, no kidding.
Oh, by the way, we just come up with a new name, too. You know that doctor's office paper that people are using to cover airplanes?
Yeah.
We now have a new name for it.
What's that?
It's called Doctor Span.
Yeah, spread the word.
Spread the word. Little the old and little the new. Doctor Span.
Doctor Span.
I didn't have good luck with it, but I got mine from Tom Morris, and it weighs twice as much as regular silk span before you put it on.
You might have gotten the wrong one. There's two different ones.
That has to be it, because the stuff I had there will soak like a half a gallon of dope per wing panel.
Oh no, the stuff that they're using out in Tucson, they gave me the part number and some different stuff, and they love it. They say it works just like regular silk span. It fills quick.
That's what Sparky said too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I put it on. One thing I'll say about it is that I fixed that SB11 that the tail cracked. It had like an inch left at the top to keep the tail from coming off.
Wow.
And I glued it back up, went inside, and put that doctor paper on there.
Doctor's pen.
Doctor's pen. And
You will be corrected.
it worked good.
Very cool.
We gotta keep policing ourselves on this doctor's pen.
Yeah.
It's got a shiny side and a matte side, doesn't it?
Yeah, when you sit on it, they give you the matte side.
Yeah.
Yeah, but don't sit on your wing.
What I figure is, for that $30 copay that I get every time I go in, when they rip that shit off and throw it away, I'm just going to take it with me.
Yeah.
Roll it up. That'll be good for another.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Might as well save it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually grab it about 6 or 8 feet at a time. I get them to roll off a strip.
All right,
and
thank you.
roll it up.
You guys quit being so cheap. It's only like $2 for 300 feet.
Hey guys, I gotta go. I gotta go eat. Dinner is late. I'll be back.
Okay, Charles.
All right, Charles.
Bye, Charles.
We'll see you later. You gonna be able to come back?
You know what's going to happen? What's going to happen is modelers are going to get to the point where they're ready to cover their airplane. They're going to realize they don't have any doctor span. They're going to make a doctor's appointment so they can get their emotions. What's wrong with you? Well, nothing really. I just want some of this paper.
They'll go in there wearing real sloppy pants.
Yeah.
And stuff the whole roll down there. These doctors going to be like, what the hell? I'm missing another roll of doctor span.
Yeah, you got it. See, now you're starting to call it the right name.
Yeah, I'll have to remember.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have it a household name before long.
Sparky, did you get paint on that airplane?
No paint. It's all in clear.
Took you too long to get the bathroom done, huh?
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah, I got mine done. Got my new glass from the shower door out in the carport. I gotta haul it back to the shop tomorrow.
Okay.
Depending on the weather, it might have white on the tail, the flaps, and the leading edge tomorrow.
Rusty, I like those plaques you have on the wall. That's an interesting thing for a contest prize. Is plaques that look like airplane side views.
Yeah,
I
I like those. I actually like my glass ones. Well, actually, they're Lexan, but they give us at Triple Tree. Those are beautiful. And those blue ones, can you tell what that symbol is on them?
AK-47?
No, it's a half an A. It's from Half A Day.
Oh, half an A. Okay.
Hey, I got about 3 best flights and a couple of best appearances and like that. So
That's clever. That's clever.
yeah.
The one that looks like a state. Which state is that?
That's South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Yeah. Well, it's South Carolina and North Carolina because we're the Metro Carolina Control Line Society.
My brother lives in North Carolina.
Does he? Where
That
about?
one that looks like a ship's wheel. What is that for?
That's a barometer. That's my dad's old barometer. My
Yeah,
dad was a sailor.
Yeah, my brother lives in Waxhaw, North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Where's that?
That's east of Charlotte.
Oh, okay.
20
In the
miles.
flatlands.
Yeah.
Are you guys starting to button down? Have they said where that hurricane's going to hit?
Holly was telling me about it earlier, and I don't know where the cone of probability is aimed right now, so I'll check on it.
It looks to me, they said Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and maybe up towards Virginia.
Well, that pretty much encompasses the whole East Coast. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a pretty good size.
Wait a minute. Well, I'm part of the East Coast too, you know.
Well, that's right. Yeah. You're in where? You're in what? New Jersey?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. That's right.
Well, hell, we must be neighbors.
Jersey might as well be in Jersey.
What's that?
Because I live in Cedar Tucky.
Cedar Tucky.
Yeah, Cedar Springs calls it Cedar Tucky.
How far are you from New Jersey, Bob? A mile?
About 3 miles.
3 miles. Yeah. So you might as well be New Jersey.
It ain't far enough, I can tell you that.
Can you smell the trash?
No, actually, you know, everybody kids about New Jersey, and you know, when you tell people you're from New Jersey, they say, "Oh yeah, what exit?" You know. Really, Jersey's a pretty state. The northern parts of it, and even the southern parts, are very pretty. You're thinking about around Newark and Elizabeth and that area.
Isn't that called the Garden State?
Yeah, it's a garden state.
These are those trophies I like from Triple Tree the best.
Oh yeah.
I had to put a black piece of paper behind this one, but otherwise it's greenish, and the one from last year is bluish.
Guys, you held up a first place trophy.
Say what? Oh yeah, of course.
You held up a first place trophy.
Oh, yeah. I only got one other one. It's well beginner. I got a first place.
Yeah, I like the ones with the airplanes though. It's like,
yeah, they're cool.
Yeah.
when I was shooting, they gave away trophies, like birds and wolf puppies and real expensive things, and then they hang a thing around them that tells you what place you took and stuff like that. Well, they didn't look like no shooting trophy to me. I'm like, hell, these damn things ain't no shooting trophy. I got this huge plate and this with gold on it and stuff. But unless you get real close, you can't even tell what it is. It just looks like I got a serving plate up on the wall.
Well, it was
Inhale it?
What's that?
No, it's right here.
Oh, I thought Charles inhaled his dinner.
Well,
That would be
the other
pretty
night
sad if I did that.
Go eat with your family.
the other night when Jamie was showing us his intermediate trophy that he won, it was a ribbon and a coffee cup.
Yeah.
I'll show you the nicest trophy I ever got. I'll show you the 2 nicest trophies I ever got. This one was the team selection trophy when I made the team the first time.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's really nice.
Wait a minute.
Click on that.
Let me get you on there, Rob. My damn mouse ain't moving. Oh, yeah,
that's
that is cool.
Is that a glass triangle or is that just a wire?
It's a wire, and there's a little airplane.
Airplane flying.
Oh, I see it.
on the
I see it. Yeah.
And it's a relief map of the United States in gold. This was done by Carlos Alois, the guy who used to do the engines out of Texas.
Yeah.
Very nice.
He did these. And the first, second, and third were the triangles like this. And fourth, fifth, and sixth were loops. And I always like triangles rather than circles, so I got one of these instead of the loop.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Of course.
Just
Yeah.
Takes one of the top 3 ones, huh?
Yeah, I figured, I want to try them.
Well, that's the same thing with Samantha at her dorm. The only trophy she took was from the thing there in Texas last year when the qualifier or whatever. And that's like a Luxon one. It's pretty cool trophy, but that's the only one she took to her dorm. So when people come in, they see that trophy.
Well, I'll show you the coolest one. I already showed this to Charles at one time here.
Oh, yeah.
The World Championship.
Gold medal.
Yeah. Wow. That's
Wow,
so
yeah.
fun.
Now, if that was real gold, it would have been melted down years ago.
Is that a belt? Why didn't you make it into a belt buckle?
That's a good idea. It's been in the drawer since I won it. I've never had it out on display.
Wow.
Oh man.
I don't know why. Just this one belongs to me.
Probably because you didn't want to remind your wife what it cost you guys for you to.
Okay, did I ever tell you the story about that?
You
No.
told me, I don't know if they heard it or not.
Yeah. It needs retelling.
When I got back from the Worlds of '78, I was all full of myself and all, hey, my friends were calling and I was regaling everybody with the story. And it went on for weeks. And my wife didn't say a word. And I was just glowing after every phone call, and found a way to embellish the story. Not lie, just embellish.
Yeah.
And finally, after about 3 weeks, and I hung up after probably the 50th time of telling this story, and I was all glowing and everything. And my wife finally broke her silence. She says, well, Bob, she says, this is great. You chose to be best in the world at something that doesn't pay a nickel. Now take out the garbage.
Hey, shipmate, what's going on?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Chris.
Hey, y'all doing?
Hey,
guys?
Chris, what's happening?
Hey, Chris.
Weather a little better tonight.
Yeah, it pretty much washed everything away, but we're good now.
I don't know you, Chris, but hi.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Chris.
Yeah, this.
Nice to meet you.
Bob.
You missed seeing a world championship trophy a couple seconds ago.
Oh, did I?
It's on the rerun.
Here we go. Put it away, Bob.
Yeah,
It ain't no big deal.
Bob, he's a first-class petty officer, United States Navy Police,
Oh, wow.
MP.
Thank you for your service.
Oh, thank you, sir.
I was an Army guy back in '68.
You know what? Maybe this will show. I don't know.
Regular Army.
One of my club presidents was a 1960s Army guy. He was a helicopter pilot in Vietnam. He
Wow.
was a pilot.
Wow.
So, Sparky, when you were in the Navy, how well did you know the MPs?
Not at all. Not at all.
Not at all. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, we got pictures out now.
Well, first off, when he was in the Navy, he didn't know the NPs. He knew the SPs. Sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Here we go. Let's see if this shows up.
I was in the MPs.
This is me, Chris.
Wow.
Wow, kid.
Wow.
Wow.
Hold me back up again, Sparky. Holy shit.
And you look like a fine, upstanding American young man there.
Wow.
Years ago.
Let me say that again. It's hard to believe, Sparky. Can I see it again? Man, you look like a kid.
I was a kid.
He was a kid.
How old was you in that picture?
17.
Wow. Wow.
How long did you stay in?
Too long. You know what Navy stands for, right?
Never again volunteer yourself?
That's exactly correct. That was during the Vietnam War. I decided it was time for me to join the Navy because my number I'd have been a Marine, and I did not want to go pound the ground.
Of course, we all know what KYAD stands for, right?
No.
Keep your ass down.
Yeah.
That's why I work nights.
I'll tell you a story about how I became an AMS instead of an AT. When I took my ASVAB or BTB or whatever they call that test, they classified me as one of the sharpest guys, and they said, well, you're going to be an AT, aviation electronics technician. I said, okay, that's great. So they sent me to Millington. I sat down in a cubicle, and they started doing all this math. I was never good at math, and this math was so ridiculously over my head. It was, I couldn't do it. There's just no way.
I bet you Brett could.
Oh yeah, Brett could do it. I still remember some of the stuff. Bad boys rape our young girls, but Violet gives willingly. Go get some now.
Wow.
Equals Ferrari. I mean, Jade drilled it in my head. Anyway, I freaked out, and they said, "Well, you're bombing. We're going to send you to the fleet." I said, "You guys promised that I'd get an A school out of this deal, and I wanted to be a mechanic, not an electronics technician or electrician." They said, okay, what, you're going to have to go to the fleet. I said, all right. So I went to the chaplain. I went over everybody's head, and I whined to the chaplain, and they reclassified me as an AMS. So I got lucky.
Now, what does AMS stand for?
Aviation Structure Mechanic. I was the head painter of gray.
All right.
Yeah, Sparky, that's what my girlfriend is. Now it's just AM.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's
So
an AM. I have her do all the work on my plane for me. She really likes that.
There was 80. There was.
It's the same materials they use on the boats. Then their airplanes are going to be heavy.
AMH and AMS when I was in. AMH was aviation hydraulics, and S was structural mechanic, meaning tin bending and things. That I worked the corrosion control crew, and that's why I became a painter of gray. So,
Well,
Did you ever?
I was kind of like my dad because he enlisted in the Navy during the Korean War, and he wanted to be a machinist mate, and that's what he did in life anyway. He was a machinist, so he went through all the school and everything. Well, then when he got aboard ship, they didn't have any openings, so they were going to make him a bosun's mate, and he bitched and stuff like that. So they said, well, it's either a bosun's mate or a cook, and he said, all right, I'll be a cook. So he was a cook through the whole thing in the Navy, but he said that he loved it because nobody messed with the cook or the paymaster.
For good reason, yeah. What does a bosun's mate do?
what does a boss's mate do? He's a
Great.
decking.
They scrape the decks before he gets to paint shit.
They drag ropes around. They drag chains around. It's a pain. It's a bitch. No, thank you.
I don't know what my dad was called. He joined the Navy the day after Pearl Harbor, and he came out of the Navy with a hobby of building radios, and I've still got some of his old signal flags, and so I guess he was in some sort of communications signal corps, something like that.
My wife's father was a prodigy radioman, and he joined the Army. He actually lied about his age to get in. Got in at 16, and but he became a prodigy radioman. And he had my mother-in-law, until she died, she gave it to her niece or her granddaughter. Had the message. He was in San Diego Bay on duty when Pearl Harbor was bombed, and he took the message on that.
Wow.
Oh,
And he was on 3 or 4 different vessels, and every time he left one, it went down with all hands.
Wow.
And after the war, after the war, he stayed in, and he went to Bikini Atoll in the Marshall Islands. He was there for the A-bomb tests, and he contracted cancers from that, and eventually died from the cancer.
oh my.
Holy cow.
Chris, are you on Firewatch?
His audio's off there.
Oh no, I'm back. I'm back. Sorry.
Are you on Firewatch?
Well, kinda. Yeah, I'm the nighttime watch commander, the shift supervisor.
Roving patrol?
Yeah, I gotta work every other night or something like that.
Are you on a ship now?
No, I'm at NAS Pensacola.
He's not even on the water.
No, we just babysit all these students trying to go through all these training commands.
Have you had any hurricane action down there?
Yeah, we had one come through and hit us pretty hard 3 nights ago, I think it was.
Yeah,
Was that Gordon?
Monday night or whatever, it was getting ready to come in when you were getting ready
Yeah.
for it, I know.
Yeah, that was Gordon, I think.
Yeah. So we got that out of the way. It didn't get us too bad. It had a lot of rain, a lot of wind, but we fared pretty well.
Are they still running dye and the GSE gas?
I can tell you.
So you're not on the gate. You don't patrol anybody. Pull people over and see if they got a red carburetor, or if they don't have carburetor ejectors.
No, we don't do that anymore.
Well, people stealing AVE gas and then put it in their cars.
No, they don't. No, they got GSE, ground support equipment. That's the yellow gear. Tow motors, the startup gear and crap like that. They got, steps and all kind of bullshit that runs by gasoline. And they take it down to the motor pool and they fill the tanks up. Well, we used to drive down the motor pool and fill our cars up with the U.S. Navy gas. Well, they got wise to that, and they started putting dye in it. So if you got caught at the gate with a red carburetor, you were busted.
Oh, I see.
That's fun.
Yeah,
Chris is
my
in
dad said-
Toronto again.
My first set of snap-on tools came from the Navy. They rotate the tools every, I guess every 2 years or every so many 100 hours. And I said, hey, what are you guys going to do with that? Well, we're going to take them down. And I thought they were throwing them out. There's nothing wrong with them. They're snap-on. Everything the Navy uses was snap-on. I said, well, shit, I'll just take them home. Because I got all kind of shit. My 69 Mach 1 Mustang was done at IMA or IMD. and I had all cannon plugs and all naval wiring and all braided steel hoses and all braided everything was. I mean, it would have been a fortune to do that. If I'd ever got caught, I'd have been in trouble. The switches were all aviation. It was all aviation stuff in my car.
Huh.
I'm not doing my YouTube duty here. Jack Snavely says he was a CB. He was 17 years old when he joined.
Wow. Thank you for your service, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you.
So CB is construction brigade, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my dad said that the captain of the ship every night liked a steak sandwich, and he wanted it like 10 o'clock at night, and they already had everything cleaned, and everybody used to really bitch about it because it messed stuff up, and then they have to re-clean the grill and all that kind of stuff. But he said everybody bitched and stuff, and he said he'd make it for him. He said then he decided, well, he's going to come down here every night. I'll just make it up ahead of time and bring it to him. So he said the whole time for his 4 years aboard ship or whatever, when they're out to sea and stuff, he always brought it to him. And he said that when he was getting out, the captain called him to his stateroom or whatever, and he says, well, I got all these leave papers here. Would you like me to file these or get rid of them? My dad said, get rid of them. He said he tore them up. He said when he mustered out, he had all of his leave pay back paid to him when he got out because the captain tore up all of his leave papers.
Oh, wow. Very cool.
It paid off to bring him a steak sandwich every night for 4 years.
Yeah, I bet it did.
Like a little brown nose into advance career.
What's that?
How come your camis aren't blue? How come they're green? You're wearing.
So we originally had what we've had the past probably 7 years or so was a blue uniform that looked like this.
Yeah.
But
you're wearing a SEAL outfit.
Yeah, they decided they didn't want us to blend in with the water when we fell overboard, so they gave us some green ones.
It's like they give you a yellow. We gotta wear orange stuff now.
Did they teach you how to float on your pants?
Oh yeah, yeah, we learned all that.
And your hat?
You can float on your hat?
Oh yeah. You can float on your shirt, your hat, your pants.
Well, you whip them off and try to fill them full of air and hold them tight.
You tie the legs off, you take your pants off, you tie the legs off, and then you whip them over the top of your head and cup as much water as you can, and then you pull them down to the water and you put the crotch between your nose here and you blow them up. Then you pull them down and hold the bottoms and then keep them wet and they'll keep you floating.
Wow.
Take with your blouse.
Yeah.
And your hat, you get it wet, you lay on your back, you cup over, and you cup it like that, and it's just enough to keep your chest up above the water.
Wow.
All right, guys. Well, I got to switch over to YouTube. My phone's about to die already, so I'll be on YouTube on the channel.
All right, brother.
All right, man.
Y'all take it easy.
See you next time, Chris.
Well, was there a functional purpose to the little round white caps that sailors used to wear that you could pull them down over your ears or fold them up so they were, cupped all the way around?
Dixie cup kept the water off your head. You pull them down like that, it would let the water go off your neck, away from you. The flap on the back came from sailing days, because back during sailing days, sailors had ponytails, and the ponytails they would dump in creosote, and that flap was detachable, and that ponytail would go on the back to keep your uniform clean.
Wow.
A lot of old traditions. They don't do any of that shit anymore. From what I understand now, you don't even have to go through shellback initiation if you don't want to.
I've got a manual.
They still have the wool dress blues and stuff like that. They're made out of wool. I wonder.
I don't know because I'm not in the Navy anymore, but I don't believe so.
I've got a book that was my dad's. It was called his Blue Jackets Manual. and it's a little, oh, I don't know, it must be 4x6, book, kind of a, I guess it's leather covered, I'm not sure, but there's a lot of stuff in it, and it teaches you everything from how to tie all the knots, how to attach two steel cables together, how to swim, how to row a boat, just about everything you could possibly need to know. And I wonder if they still give give sailors that when they enlist.
I have no clue.
Uh,
Not sure where that is.
My dad has a book of every port he went into. He was in the Navy, I think, for 22 or 23 years. He was at HTC. But I have the book where it's every port he'd been in through his career.
If you'll notice the hat that I had on, Chris probably looked at that and wondered, well, when the hell was that? Well, I was in the year that they were transitioning from the Dixie cups to the six-button breasted suits. Everybody wore a chief's outfit, basically. So I had dungarees and a blue jean shirt at one time, and a Dixie cup. I also had dress whites with the 13 buttons, which is the flap on the front, and the bell bottoms. Plus, I had dress whites where I looked like a milkman, and the 6-button wool overcoat. So I had both sets of uniform.
How many people still use the word dungaree? Well,
I hadn't heard that in a long time.
Telegraph your age, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When I think of dungarees, I think of Smokey the Bear.
Dungarees.
Well, I wish I still had my Boondockers, because my Boondockers, one pair would last 20 years, and they finally did wear out. But I don't have them anymore. They used to issue these shoes that had I don't know, they were about cut to here, about this high.
Right.
Steel-toed, non-spark soles, oil-last soles, and they lasted forever. I think they were made in Leavenworth Prison. They were great.
Yep. So
Chris says he got his blue jacket manual the first day at boot camp, so they're still using it. It'd be interesting to compare the old ones from 1940, whatever it was, to the ones they give out now, 2018.
Well, they don't even teach firefighting in real fires anymore. They're using virtual reality. When I went in, they threw us in a room that was, about a grate about a foot off the ground, filled with jet fuel, lit it on fire, and said, "Okay, guys, go put it out."
Oh, holy shit!
Wow.
2 teams of 6 guys on each hose, and we'd go in there and put that shit out. Pretty scary.
Yep.
Especially scary if it was on a submarine too. I had a cousin who was a submariner, or a submariner, whichever you pronounce it.
I couldn't do that. Just imagine if somebody farted down there. You got nowhere to go. At least on an aircraft carrier, you can go to the hangar bay or up on the fantail and air out.
But yeah, my dad had all his stuff up till when they moved. It'll be 13 years in November. All but his, I think he called it a pea coat.
Yeah, that long jacket. I've got my dad's old pea coat.
What happened to that? I guess he loaned it to my my cousin for Halloween or something and never got it back. But
They were good coats. They're expensive too.
I guess it was made of wool or whatever.
Yeah, this my dad's was. It was heavy as hell.
If you go in the water in that, you're going right to the bottom.
But yeah, he had all of his stuff up until they moved, and it didn't fit anybody. But yeah, he's still, knowing what the shit's worth now, we should have got on YouTube or whatever, or not YouTube, or eBay. He sold off all of his dungarees because they were still all folded in that bag, that white bag that he had.
That picture that I showed you is the last thing that I have left from the Navy.
Okay. Well, my mom still has my dad's stuff where they took a picture of them all on deck of the ship.
Oh, yeah.
in San Diego. They got that. And another picture of just, I don't know if it was the cooks or whatever he was in. And there's like 20 or 30 of them. She's got that picture that was taken from the Navy. And then other pictures that they had taken or whatever, him and his dress blues and his dress whites and stuff like that for different things. But
when my mom died, all that shit went away for me.
what's weird is that you look at my dad when he was like 18, and you look at my brother when he was 18, and they look just alike. But I'd never seen, they pull out these pictures. I never, noticed or seen the pictures of my dad when he was that age. So I never realized how much him and my brother looked alike at the same age.
Wow.
My dad was in the Navy during World War II. They had black hats with a band on it, and it looked like he was some kind of Russian sailor. It said Navy across the top.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I remember that. I remember those hats.
I go, is that you? He goes, yeah, that's me. I go, wait, I thought you were in the United States Navy, not in the Russian Navy.
Well, the English wore hats like that too. So did the Russians and Germans, and I think that's one reason why they changed that, so they didn't all look alike.
Well, the Russians probably had a backwards V on the Navy.
Didn't they have like a little thing that hung from it or whatever on them hats? A little piece of.
Yeah. Kind of weird.
Anybody? Maybe we'll get some more visitors if we talk about airplanes. Anybody got any flying stories, building stories to tell tonight?
Now, I'll have one Monday because Samantha's supposed to be home tomorrow, and I got the tail wheel thing all made up to put that in there, and top blocks and stuff like that. So we'll probably glue up that tomorrow, and then it should be ready to cover. Get everything else in it. And
I'm going to John's tomorrow to dope and to sand. About all I got.
Yeah, about all I got. So what I talked about earlier is getting that glass out to this shop and redoing my work table so I can continue on with the Cardinal.
Try to make that magic.
For a video. I wanted to find that video that Wendy did on building the kit Cardinal wing, and I couldn't find it anywhere. Finally, Peter Grabenstein on Stunthangar found it for me, and so that's a big help. It had I knew it. I had looked at it about a year ago, and it had some building tips that I wanted to revisit before I started and see if there was anything I wanted to do. I always try to do something I've never done before every time I build a new plane. So now I've got it, and I will email you the link for that, Charles.
Cool. I like watching Winnie videos. I like watching Bob Hunt videos too. Those are really cool.
Well, that's ancient history, huh?
Now, where on YouTube do you go to watch Bob Hunt videos? Is it Robin?
I've never seen one on YouTube. I just have happen to have some.
Sparky was going to put some up, but I don't know if you ever did or not.
No, you didn't want me to.
No, I said you could do that.
I said not to. I will if you want me to.
Up to you. I don't care. It's of such ancient history now that,
Yeah, well, I mean, we're flying, ain't
you?
you?
Actually got a VHS copy? Good grief.
Yeah, I got VHS copies.
there's got to be 30 of them in here.
Wow.
How to build a I-beam wing. What else do I got here? George Eldridge, the father of modern stunt. Texas Tips.
Texas Tips, yeah. Randy Randolph.
The Man in His Museum is the good one.
You have no idea how many hours I spent editing those things. Well, Sparky does, but because he's done some of that. But some of those things have hundreds of hours of editing on them.
Got any idea how many times I've watched that?
I haven't watched them. I don't think since I finished them, because when when you're making them, you're watching them over and over and over and over, working on things. And when you're done with them, you're sick of them, you know? So recently I did watch one of them. It was like, I forgot all about 90% of what was on there, you know?
Have y'all ever looked at a website called airfieldmodels.com?
No.
I have.
That is a great website for just fundamentals of aerodynamics and why airplanes are built like they are, and gives you good instructions on things, you know, like installing shear webbing. And like that's where I'll go for ideas sometimes if I don't understand something, or if I want to do what I was saying a minute ago, is to find something new to try when I'm on a new build. And they've got great information and explanations on there. Airfieldmodels.com is well worth checking out.
All right.
Yeah, I gotta watch this one again. That's the one with the adjustable, removable stabilizer.
Which one is that?
The perfect
that's
removable.
The Bob Knoll series. Yeah.
Yeah.
Forgot all about that series. I gave all those to Bob. He's selling them now. They were part of our catalog, but I gave them to him, and he's selling them. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, so I got a lot of them that you did get ideas. A lot of times, you know, things change, but there's still a lot of good ideas on how to do things.
Thank you for putting my son through college.
Yeah. What is that one about, Steve? That one you just had about the elevators?
That was about an hour and a half.
Good answer. I like that.
Yeah,
an RC thing about how to do removable and adjustable stabilizer halves for radio control pattern airplanes.
Okay.
We did a lot.
Does it have any?
The most interesting one we did was a guy that I had met years and years and years ago when I was 17. He worked at a place called Highway Hobby. We used to call it Highway Robbery. He was a counter guy. And years later, Dick Maddox, anybody know Dick Maddox? He's a flyer from around Philly. And he was the CEO of Bachman Trains and later became the CEO of Lionel. But he called me up when he knew I was in the video business. And he said, you know, would you like to do some of our instructional videos? And I said, sure. So I went to to go on the train sets. And I went down, and the guy he had as his talent, you know, to talk on screen was this guy that I had met at Highway Robbery. So it turns out that he was not only a train expert, but he was also a softball pitching coach. And his daughter was a prodigy softball pitcher. But he worked with this guy named Armando Madrid, who came up with a style of pitching called the California drag, which all the girls use now. And we did a video on how to pitch the California drag style of pitching. That was pretty interesting. We did a lot of videos besides model airplane videos, you know.
Wow.
The video that I've watched several hundred times and I still can't do it is that one on Japanese tissue.
Oh, Larry Cruz, yeah.
That how he gets that tissue together, where he's using colored Japanese tissue and clear dope, and there's no, you can't tell. I mean, on the fillets, and there's no seams anywhere. I have no idea how.
He's a master. He really is. He's a nice guy too. Yeah, we did a lot of those things. That one with you had there, the Texas Tips with Randy Randolph. He's dead now, but he was one of my columnists at Flying Models, and I called him up, and when I left Flying Models, you know, the old saying, don't leave your day job, but I did. And I went around the country on acquisition trips, and I went all over the place. I went down to Texas to see Frank McMillan. I interviewed him for one of the Stunt Flyer video magazines, and then on the way back to Dallas, I stopped at Randy Randolph's house, and we did Texas Tips, which was basically radio control stuff, you know, but there's some interesting things in there.
We got a guy that was asking on YouTube, Night Nav asks if anyone knows if plans were available for the E-Cavaliers by Tom Morris. And I wrote him back and told him my flying buddy was flight trimming Tom's prototypes a summer or two ago, and I'll find out from him. But if any of y'all know, be sure and chip
The
in.
best
And
place to start would be to call Tom Morris.
Yeah.
that's what I was going to suggest too. I didn't want to put Tom's phone number up on here though.
One,
But I told him to email me, so
we'll go to email him out of Stunthangar Hobbies.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, go to Stunthangar Hobby. If you're a member of Stunthangar Night Nav, then you can look at the top left corner and click on Stunthangar Hobby and
Click on the member list and search members. Tom Morris.
okay, that's an even better idea.
But what it is that because I got a regular Cavalier, not an E-Cavalier, and the plane you get is a full-size Cavalier, and you make your profile off of that plane, basically.
Yeah, Wayne's got several of them, and Tom was sending him to him to finish, and then the flight trim and send him back flight reports. And can't remember if that was last summer or that was the summer before, or maybe both. But so I know something's got to be available for that.
Yeah, I'm not real sure. I know that with the regular profile, I guess he just figured everybody knew how to put the rails in there and stuff like that and build a profile ship. So I don't know if he did anything special. I know that you can buy the little piece he makes, the battery box and stuff to put in that. And I believe is all you do is that matches up to the plan, and you just cut out the profile half-inch piece of balsa and then glue that in there. And then you can add the cheek cowls or whatever to cover that. But maybe Tom now has something different, but that's what he had a few years back. But it was made to fit right in that E-Cavalier.
Yeah, it's a good flying plane. Wayne actually, I think he won a contest at Brodak with it. One of the few times when he was able to fly instead of judge.
Well,
Guys, I'm going to hit it because I'm going to get up and go over to John's tomorrow.
All right, Sparky. Thanks for dropping in on us.
All right, guys, have a good time.
All right, Sparky, take it easy.
yep.
All
Yeah,
right, Dad's gone now. We can do anything we want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still watching us.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Well, welcome to our show, Night Nav. That's the first time I've seen your name pop up out here. But he says he was watching one of Wayne fly one of Tom's Cavaliers on my YouTube site, and he's curious about it. So I'll see what kind of information I can get for him. We'll connect through email.
Yeah, I've heard that Cavaliers in a kind of a triple thread. You can build the profile Cavalier and fly in profile, classic, and Pampa.
Yeah,
It's a pretty competitive plane. I've heard. I've never flown one.
if I remember, I will try to get one of them converter deals that you can convert your VHS tapes over to thumb drives or whatever. If you want some of Bob's videos, I'll do that for you. And like Sparky about, I gotta find it.
Steve, yeah, what are you trying to do here? I could sell new DVDs to these people.
You should advertise them back on your page again. I mean, a lot of that, it's like with that adjustable stab. Now you'd probably use a carbon fiber tube and all that kind of, different things to lighten it up.
Yeah.
But everybody now wants to have removable elevators, and it's going back to what we used to do a long time ago. To trim in a pattern plane. I mean, you could add a little bit of incidence and stuff like that.
Well, those tapes, that program, I don't even have anymore. Those 4 programs, we did 4 of them. Perfect airframe alignment, perfect foam wing construction, perfect motor mount installation, and perfect removable and adjustable stabilizer. There's 4 of them. I gave them all to Bob. Bob Knoll, the guy who was the talent on that. He's a good guy, so I just gave it to him.
Yeah, I mean, you may use something a little different, but you can still use that as the base to start from.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
Well, they're still available from him. He's still around.
Oh, okay.
But, and yeah, I guess I should advertise the ones I do have. Some of, I mean, a lot of it's getting to be dated information, but some of it's still good, I guess. Certainly the ones, you know, about George Aldrich and Billy Werwage, the Man in His Museum, and the molding one, and the IB.
The one how to change bearings in a motor.
Yeah.
A lot of people still fly, you know, not everybody's into electric, and
yeah.
You get questions about that all the time on here, you know, about bearings and.
Well, just to see Dean, you know, on screen is worth it. He's hilarious, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like seeing and learning about these old guys that are fading into our past, and you know, kind of keep the memory alive. But I'm always interested in reading biographical information too. So.
But you know,
there's some good ones on there. I mean, that thing with George Aldrich, you know, it was really neat. I went down to visit Frank, and he said, "Why don't we go over to George's house and do one with him?" And he was like completely into it, and we had a great time shooting that video. And the beauty of it is, one of his old buddies came out of the blue, just stopped by the house, that had flown with him back in the '40s, and they started BSing. And fortunately, I just kept the camera going, and we got like 45 minutes of
that was a treat.
Buddies BSing about the old days. It was priceless stuff, you know.
Oh yeah, what a treat.
Yeah, we just kept our mouths shut and let them talk, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, like when I go to these swap meets and stuff like that, you know, once in a while I'll get an airplane or whatever, a kit, but I look for the tapes and stuff. People have tapes, and they're, you know, and their wives, you know, their husbands die or whatever, and this guy's got a bunch of damn tapes and doesn't even know what he has, and I'll buy him up.
Yeah.
Oh, here comes our Kiwi friend. How you doing, Gerald?
Good, thank you. How are you all?
Doing well.
Yeah, we just got back from shopping, so I missed out a good chunk of the show, but it's been a nice day out there. So
that's okay. We've been topic hopping, just kind of chilling out on a Friday night, not really getting serious about too much.
Yeah, it's only 11 o'clock too. Yeah, I got to get up. I can do yard work. We had them damn storms that just moved a lot of dirt around my house. Tore out grass. I'm going to have to reseed and everything else.
I was doing that today, weeding my gardens and everything. Bob the gardener.
Well, along from my garage, we had one storm and stuff, and I had water running the wrong way, so I paid a guy to come and do the grade. So if it rained that hard, we got that much water, it would flow to the back of the property and then a creek that's not too far away. It finally works its way that way. Well, this is only the second time I've ever seen water flow down it.
Wow.
I'm like, damn, I paid a lot of money to have all that done and never used it. Well, I'm glad that it's there, but now I got to go and move the dirt that moved into that damn grade and move it back to where it was before and reseed. But yeah, we're getting like 2.5 inches a day, and it's finally the ground got saturated and nothing was soaking in. And so hard, so my driveway's full of sand and dirt and everything else where it flowed into my driveway, and a couple hours I'll figure I can get it.
What's it? You're moving right on into springtime now, aren't you? It would be equivalent of March where you live.
It's still very wet. We had a lot of really bad weather, like Steve's describing, where it's just very pugged up. The land around us, all the farms are really, the grass is short and the mud is deep. It's really pugged up. A very, very wet winter, but we're going into spring now. The blossoms and leaves are out. It's warming up a bit. I don't have the big puffer jacket on today. I'm quite toasty and warm in here today because the sun's shining. But yeah, the weather, like seeing some of the weather in Japan and in Europe, they've had some real extreme weather events. Hopefully we're not in for more. But we had a very hot, dry summer last year. We're probably in for more of the same this year, I imagine. There seems to be more of the extremes of each, hot or cold and dry or wet, one extreme to the other.
Mm.
But I managed to mow the flying field last week, and that was progress. It means spring's on the way, and I can't mow both flying fields, just the one that I've got better drainage on. But if I get the flying field sorted, I can get a lot more practice in, which is something I need with our nets coming up.
I finally got around to reading your newsletter from beginning to end. When you first sent it to me, I scanned it, and that's a good newsletter. I don't know why you say people are all negative about it rather than complimentary. They had lots of good information and pictures.
Well, thank you. I just feel I'm often at odds with other people here because the way I tend to do things is different to the way a lot of other Kiwis here do things. We have a different way about the models you build, and the way you choose to be an aero model varies. And I probably follow a lot of the American cues. I use Fox motors, KMB motors. I'm less of a I try not to use that many Chinese or Japanese motors. I like to stick to my Foxes, drive American cars, and I probably fall out of favour with a few of them because of my opinions. I encourage people to fly 35 size combat, and no, they'd rather fly little 2.5s. You know, the FAI is the dominant event here, all the FAI events, where I've tried to encourage people to have a go doing carrier, like the carrier model behind me over there, and I can't get other people to buy into my views. So if I'm doing the newsletter, then they get my views whether they like it or not.
You would think that when there's so few of us in the whole universe that fly model airplanes, that we would behoove us to get along, you know, and not argue over what powers our model airplanes, you know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's like, you know, I tell everybody, when you start buying this stuff for me, then tell me what you want me to fly.
Right.
You know, but as long as I'm paying for it, I'm going to fly what I want to fly.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, when I first started and was a beginner, you know, Ray Copeland and other people gave me, you know, a handful of motors here and, you know, a couple of old beat up but still usable airframes there. And hey, all those motors, I'm still flying those things, you know, OSFPs and great stuff. I hadn't had to buy just about anything to power my planes with, and I think I won my first contest with an old beat up Skyray that was given to me, and I fixed it up and flew it, and it was great.
Yeah, I still fly Fox. I still have Fox motors. I cut them up and use them for tip weight.
Yeah.
You know, one thing with me is that since I was a kid, I was always working on mini bike motors and go-kart motors. We had go-karts, mini bikes, anything. We actually even had, some of us in the neighborhood had the little Fox motor that went on your bicycle and went down on the tire and burnt your tire up. But we're always, you know, just had all that stuff. I'll always have glow motors because I just like playing with them.
Yeah, me too. I mean, that's what got me into it. Is when
if
I
I was
going
to spend $1,000 or whatever to go to a contest, I damn sure would have electric.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to spend that kind of money. I don't want bad engine runs. I don't want this. I don't want that. We found out it's like going to France where all the people having bad engine runs, they finally got it shit. We had none of it. You know, the worst thing I had to do was remember how to change the time on the, you know, add time or take time away from the speed controller or change the RPM. Mm-hmm. Do a few little things like that. I mean, that was it. And then once you wanted that, every day you went out there, it flew the same. But, you know, I'm not that good with motors.
To the choir. You're preaching to the choir here.
Well, I know it, but I'm saying for fun, I love, like, we're going to fly tomorrow. I won't bring an electric with me. We're going to go out there. We're going to mess around with the glow motors, and I still love them. But, yeah, if I'm going to spend money, really big money to go someplace and motels and this and that and everything else, I wouldn't do it anymore. It's, you know, if you have a perfect setup and you can get it to run right all the time, that's fine, but I never could. Yeah,
if that P-51 Mustang at the Western Auto store hadn't said real gas engine on the front of the box, it would have stayed on the shelf, and I might never have gotten into this.
Oh, that's the same thing, you know, with me and my brother and Cox Motors. We still have Cox Motors from when we were a kid.
Wow.
You know, all the airplanes that crash, we take them, you know, we take them out. And then when we could get our mom and dad to buy us new airplanes, we just go out there and mount them to a board or whatever. Just run the motors. Just mess around with them because they ran. They did something without you having to do it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sort of a lot. I think the fuel, the sounds, the smell, it breathed something into youth that enjoyed it. I think something a lot of us remember, the small little models. They were toy grade, I know, at one stage, but it encouraged young people to get in. They could do it themselves. They could take a model down to the park and have a fly. And you always hear them as a kid. There'd be a baby bee running somewhere all the time on the weekend. I remember that all the toy shops stock them, and nowadays it's hard to find anything aeromodeling related in a toy shop now. The closest you get, I went to a op shop, a hospice shop. These are my aeromodeling items for today.
All right.
I thought, yeah, just put boomerangs. They've got an airfoil on them. They've actually got a proper airfoil. These are ones that are designed to fly. Some of them are purely decorative, but it's got the flying instructions on the back. And I thought, well, yeah, that's the only aeromodeling I'll ever find in Ore where we're doing our shopping today. So I'm going to snap them up.
That's pretty cool. Me and my brother messed with damn boomerangs for years and never could get the son of a bitches to come back or whatever. Once in a great while, we get it to come back, and I think that's kind of a curse because once
what you're saying is it wasn't a boomerang; it was a stick.
Yeah. I've had one boomerang in my life, and it didn't come with any instructions. I think I found it somewhere, and I played with it for a couple of years, and I could make it circle around and land somewhere nearby. But one day I threw it, and it never came back, and I never found out where it went. So that was the end of that. I think I did put it through the living room window one time. My mom found it.
Yeah, my brother had one. He got it so it would curve and do about a, 110-degree, but never could get it to come back. You know.
There's a couple of good YouTube videos on how to do it, but watching somebody do it and being told how to do it is a lot different. Just like everything, you got to go out and get the feel of it.
Well, when I was 10 years old, I guess we were too poor for YouTube because we never seen them.
Yeah, well, they didn't have those then, did they?
You know, but there was something on a Saturday morning TV show, and they had this guy from Australia, and he probably was selling them or made them or whatever, and he had like a whole handful of them, and he'd throw them, and they'd circle around him and stuff, and he's doing all this crazy stuff and throwing them and catching them. We're like, wow, that is so cool. We got to get these. And we got them and never could get the damn things to work.
Wow.
We messed a mess. Once in a while, we get to come back, and then we play again for damn another month. So we might have a little bit of luck and get it to circle back, but it kept us out of trouble. We were in the damn backyard.
You should have put one of your Cox 049s on it. You know, that would have.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
Robert Ladd says hello, good evening. He's enjoying us talking.
Good.
Anybody know Robert Ladd? Your name sounds familiar.
I don't know.
The other thing we do is when our Cox models are crashed and stuff, we get a rag and tie it to the engine. Just start it up and let it go. See how high we can get.
Flying rag, yeah.
Flying rag. I mean,
Night Flyer does that on YouTube.
Yeah,
I
it
think
reminds
that's his name. He does videos on old. He flies a lot of old plastic, and he's pretty entertaining to watch sometimes.
they have our aeromodeling club, the Auckland Free Flight Club, normally has every summer after work. They have a chuck glider series where you go to the park back in Auckland City and they all fly chuck gliders. And the older people have difficulty launching them, so they're allowed to use a catapult where you pull it back and it launches your chuck glider for you. And a lot of people really enjoy it, but some of them are terrible. The designs are terrible. There was one called the airsail satellite. And I remember one guy used to always recite the story about how he reckoned that he could beat his son, who was flying the airsail satellite, with a cow patty, a dried cow pat, would beat his satellite. And sure enough, he won the bet. I suppose a cow patty in the right shape's a bit like a frisbee. It might probably have an airfoil to it in a way.
And you can put a Coxwell 49 on it.
The Chuckwater series is great fun. A lot of things don't have to be really serious aeromodeling just to be fun. You can have a lot of fun with a very basic
Thing
model.
doesn't fly for, doesn't fly for crap.
But one thing is that like Bob and stuff who had dads that flew and stuff like that, they could have bigger stuff. Me and my brother, we wanted I think it was an Enya 29 or something. They had it at the hobby shop. And we wanted to build an airplane for that. My mom just threw a fit. That will cut your finger off and all this kind of stuff. That was it. We weren't getting one of them. You'd have an 049, so that's what we couldn't have anything bigger because it was gonna cut our fingers off. And it probably would have because we'd been flying that on a rag or something. Who knows?
When I was moving up from half A to bigger engines, which I honestly didn't really know they existed. I guess academically I did, but had never been exposed to them until just a few years ago. I gained a lot of respect when I was trying to finger start a Fox 35, and it backfired and hit me in the finger, and that was when I realized how bad you can really get hurt cranking an engine. And I locked up. I learned to put a glove on, then got a chicken stick. And that same Fox took that chicken stick out of my hand the first time I flipped it, shot it across the yard. And I went back and...
You got a PA-75 and a carbon prop. It's going to do a lot more damage.
That's so I've heard, yeah. Especially those 3-blade props. They don't give you as much time to get your hand back out of it. So.
Well, that was like... And I should have known better, and I didn't have a glove on. But there in Texas, I tell that Rojet 76. I primed it and stuff like that, and started back flipping it just to get the fuel atomized in there, and the son of a bitch started.
Compression started. Yeah.
One other time before we left, I was messing around, and I thought I just wasn't paying attention, but I think it did the same thing. And that thing cracked me across my finger. And I had to look down to make sure my finger was still there.
Wow.
Because I swear to God, it took it right off. I dropped that, had it upside down. That hit, I dropped the damn airplane on the ground. I'm swinging my hand. And I mean, I was in some pain when that.
I'll never forget that day that Don McClave out of Tucson, we were practicing together. And he had a Gene Schaefer Blackbird with an Aero Tiger in it. And he had a carbon prop on it, and we didn't know it. He didn't know it, I guess, at the time, but he was in the early stages of Alzheimer's, and which eventually killed him. And he started the engine, and then reached right through the prop to adjust the needle. And I had blood all over me, and his finger was a mess. He spent the whole day at the hospital, and I had to go get change of clothes, but I was just covered with blood.
Yeah.
Wow.
One of our buddies in Huntersville, Stan Powell, did that a year or so ago, and he was not able to fly for about a year while that hand healed up. It was awful.
Wow, that's terrible.
Well, I tell you what, Bob, if you ever do that with electric, when after you push the button, you run your hand through the prop, then you know you have Alzheimer's.
Yeah, and the thing I like about electric is you're 70 feet away when the prop starts to move.
Yeah. I've seen some nasty accidents. I saw that happen recently to a guy in our club, an older guy, and he put his hand through the prop. He seemed to be reaching around to get the needle, and he just stuck his hand in the prop. And that again was, I think it was a double star 60, and it certainly made a mess, yeah. But talking of simple things like an 049, a friend was trying to start an 049 for his grandson the other day, and it had a really sharp master air screw on it, and the little 049 certainly drew some blood. I'm surprised.
Sure.
I think 049 couldn't, but with those sharp modern air screws, those modern props are just lethal in terms of their cutting ability. But it's like the APCs. I had APC on my Fox hook when it got my hand, and I was just turning the needle, but the needle's so short and it's so close to the prop. As I turned my hand around, the palm of my hand got into the arc, and I just thought, oh, it's going to get a remote needle now. I'm not going to run that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you get a knuckle into the backside of the prop, it scares you worse than it actually hurts.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've gotten the side of my thumb just enough to warn me, but
Yeah, I've showed y'all my thumb picture before, I believe.
yeah.
I never had any real accidents. I mean, in the early days, like Steve was saying, you had a Fox or something that was flooded, and you flip it, and it would backfire, and it hit your finger, it'll break the prop, and you get a little welt, but that would be it. Now, motors they have now will take your finger clean off. So gotta be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah, Samantha, when she was first learning how to fly, he had that little damn Sterling Mustang with that 049 I bought for $5. Well, the damn motor started hard and stuff, and it had the spring starter on it. So I'd be just, I'd grab it, grab it, get fuel on my hand, and have that propeller slip out of my fingers. That damn thing come back by and go plop, 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 put like little paper cuts on my finger. My finger's bleeding and stuff, and I'm trying to start it. Samantha's freaking out there. I don't want to fly. No, you're bleeding. Are you okay? And I was like,
speaking of those cuts in your hand, that did you ever see any of the videos that are on YouTube of the people who have been hit with helicopters?
No.
Oh, no.
One guy that had his back had like inch-deep cuts all along his back, where the thing had come along and cut him.
Oh man!
Almost like a spiral hem.
Wow.
Yeah, dangerous stuff.
Well, we saw a couple of nights ago. We were flying scale, and the guys next to us were flying combat, and we kept having combat models coming through. Now they've got the cuddles, thankfully, but they kept coming through onto our circle where we were flying scale. And then one guy was hit by a flying model, and it tore up his shirt and cut lacerations down his back. And I think he was pitting when he was hit by a loose model that had come off the lines. But it's pretty scary.
Reminds me of a funny story. In 1981 in Seguin, Texas, which is very hot down there, when they had the whole Nationals run at the same time on the same venue, they had we were watching these team race guys, or rat race guys. Rat race guys were going around, and they're doing like, I don't know, about 140 or something, and the Wakefield model comes bouncing along in a thermal, kind of how they bounce sideways and they kind of glide sideways. He comes right into the rat race circle. And these airplanes are going around like crazy. And this Wakefield model goes right through the whole circle, and you think he's going to get all the way out the other side. And all of a sudden, it was like a bunch of confetti. They all hit at the same time, the lines and the airplane. It was like a bunch of confetti. And the guy came running up. He just looked at his airplane in pieces on the ground.
Oh, man.
Jesus.
And that was the same year, 1979 in Lincoln. A combat model broke loose and hit a power line, and it started a fire in the line, and it burned up to the first transformer and blew that up, and then burned the line down to the next one and blew that up, and the AMA had to pay for all of that.
Holy cow!
Yeah.
Well, back in the day when I was flying RC, batteries, servos, all that kind of stuff was near as good as they are today, and we'd be out there. And all of a sudden, someone would be like, I lost it. Here comes this airplane just barreling into the pits, and he's got no control of it. People are running all over the place, and, once in a great while, wham, it would hit a car. Or, it was fairly dangerous back then.
Yeah. I remember those days, too. We actually flew with radio on one side of the field, a driveway in between, and control line on the other. And the radio guys would approach over the control line circle at times. They weren't supposed to, but if they had gone dead stick or whatever, they'd come across the control line circle, and you'd have models landing in the circle. And you were concentrating on your models, not looking at these radio models drifting into a flight path. And occasionally they'd hit a car and put a good dent in a car, or they'd go through the fence. And it was a busy place because it was a main road in Takapuna. and you just realised it was a real hazard. And then they moved out to Greens Road, a rural area, where there were no public, no cars, no other obstacles.
Well, that one year at the Nats, I went. That's when they were flying scale, RC scale at the same time, and Samantha was out there flying, and this guy kept flying over the circles there on the L pad, and they see her looking at thing, rah, making all kinds of noise and stuff. I went over there and said, "Hey, you guys are flying over the L pad?" "Yeah, well, we're trying to keep it, here." Oh, we're telling them. I said, "Well, I tell you what you do. If they fly over, you put a guy over there. If they fly where they're not supposed to, you disqualify their flight, and that will stop that."
Yeah.
And I went and talked to CD, and I said, "One more of them fly over there." I said, "I'm going up to the headquarters," and I said, "I don't want no 50-pound airplane flying over my head." And so they put a stop to it, and they disqualified a few of them, and yeah, that stopped that. They didn't do it anymore. They kept them over where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, that happened during a few team selections. They were having those giant scale fly-ins out there while we were having our team selections. That happened a few times. We had to go over and talk to them.
Yeah, they can keep it in. I flew out, it's like, well, it's kind of hard. I'm like, you know what? I fly RC, and you can keep them in. If you don't have any depth perception where you can't tell where your airplane's at, you probably shouldn't be flying here.
Yeah.
When you got 100 and some inch wingspan and this huge plane and it's way out there and you can hardly see it, you're probably not flying where you should be.
Really? I mean, we're always able to keep our airplanes a fixed distance from us.
Yeah.
I don't see why they can't.
I keep mine exactly 60 feet away from me at all times.
Flying at a site where there were other buildings, and they put up a 10-pin bowling alley and all these other obstacles sprang up, and some of the flyers just weren't up to flying with obstacles. They'd be forever crashing into trees or hitting buildings, and you realise, no, you can't fly, especially with people that are learning, and not nice to say, but those people that are a bit older, challenged with their eyesight, and they're constantly planting it where they shouldn't. So it's much safer to fly in a rural location where you're just going to hit a tree. You're not going to hit anything where there's going to be major cost involved.
Friend of
I'm
mine
curious about the guy that hit the power line. Did the AMA come investigate to make sure that the plane was built and all the rigging was to specifications, AMA recommendations?
I don't remember the particulars of it. I just remember hearing it and seeing it. We were over there, and we turned around and we heard this.
Yeah, pretty spectacular.
It was really great.
I was just wondering if before they approved payment for something like that, they
it ran into the hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
I guess your insurance had to pay it.
We had a similar incident, but it wasn't caused by a radio model. It was a free flight model, and the DP hit a satellite, a cornfield or maize, something, and farmers were not happy, and the claim was in the thousands. I think it was quite a stiff claim, but it's the biggest one I can ever remember here.
It's amazing that there weren't more catastrophic accidents with both control line and radio, but particularly radio, because the airplanes are free, and sometimes if people don't have the proficiency they should have, they do some of the control liners, but at least we're a fixed distance from ourselves and a little safer in that respect. But it's just amazing that there weren't more bad accidents in radio. There were enough bad ones, but a few deaths. But I'm always amazed there weren't more, especially when you go to local flying fields. You see just how crazy some people fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was a couple of years ago at the Nats too. They had the scale RC again, and this guy had this Stuka, and I seen it, and I mean, he did a marvelous job. And we were watching him fly it, and all of a sudden I see this twitch out of it, and it pitched down. I'm like, oh, that one's hitting the ground. They're like, oh no, he's doing a bombing run. I said, well, if he is, he ain't gonna pull out of it, because I just seen that thing glitch on him. Sure as shit, just flew that thing right in the ground. Boom! Stuff goes all over. They said, how'd you know that? I said, I've seen that too many times in my own airplane. It does this little twitching thing just before you got no control, and it just holds that last command and however it does it, and it's done. You ain't pulling it out. But yeah, you can tell when they're hit or your battery done screwed up. And
we were at 78 Woodville. There was a guy with a Dynajet powered Delta RC airplane, and the thing would do like I guess well over 300 miles an hour, and he was flying it up into clouds that were low-hanging clouds. We were just off the North Irish Sea, and it was pretty low-hanging clouds. The thing would disappear, then it would come back, and he'd catch it, and then he lost it, and it hit about 10 feet from a baby carriage and went straight into the ground. And this thing was a long, pointed nose thing. That really scared me. That really scared me. I wanted to find some cover.
Well, my buddy said Glenn Rowe, and he flew with Dean, and he knew Dean and everything, and he was going to the Tournament of Champions. So in Kansas or something, they knew some people. They went to fly there. So he said he's flying his airplane, and all of a sudden, it got that hit or glitch or whatever, and he had no control. And he said there was a line of trees, and he watched that airplane just go into the line of trees, disappear. He said he was swearing everything, put his antenna down and turned his radio off and all that kind of stuff. So some guy said, "Hey, there's your airplane." And he looks, and the thing came up over top the trees, he said, about a mile away.
Wow.
Run his antenna up, turn on. By God, he got control of it and brought it in and landed. I said, "You fly it again?" He goes, "Hell no, I don't know what got me, but I wasn't flying there no more." He made it to Vegas for the Tournament of Champions, but yeah, he said that was the craziest thing. He was walking back to his car and everything, and the plane just come up from behind the trees. And
now with the 2.4, they're having less problems like that,
Yeah.
But back in the 72 days, somebody would turn on, crash an airplane, and then turn off and never admit that they did it. They did it by accident, maybe, but they did it. Dean Pappas lost a couple of pattern ships that way. The kids running RC cars, and the local hobby shop sold the kids radios on 72, which is an aircraft band.
Yeah.
And they sold it you just want to make a sale to these RC car kids, and they went out to run their cars near an RC pattern field, and cost Dean one of his best airplanes ever.
Well, that's like I went to me and a buddy of mine went to Florida to fly at the Gator something or other they called it back then. And we went to RC World, and they didn't call it RC World back then, but we went there and we flew. And then we flew at by my uncle's house there in Gainesville. Then we went back to Orlando, and I'm flying. The next day's a contest, and I have a Hanno Pretner Superfly. I had a Superfly. One of his last airplanes, I'm flying good. All of a sudden, the thing gets right in front of me and just goes, wham! I'm like, oh my God. Guy behind me with his grandson fucking shot me down.
Yeah, that's where 2.4 is a better deal now, because, you can fly 50 people on a flight line, they're not going to interfere with each other on the same frequency.
Yeah, the old radio sets were shocking. The AM ones in particular, I remember those were pretty terrible. The range was terrible, and it didn't take much industrial interference to bring it down.
Well, back in the day too, they had what they call it, like 3-something modulation.
Pulse code modulation.
What was it?
Pulse code modulation, PCM.
No, they had a deal was that if you had we found out if you had 3 radios on a certain frequency, they would mix, and all 3 airplanes would go in.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they called it something, and so then that's when we had to split channels out and stuff like that. These ones wouldn't do it, and these ones would, but some electronics guy figured it out. But yeah, we had.
Oh, okay. So knew what channels would interfere with others. Yeah.
Yeah, something kind of modulation.
It's called third order modulation.
Third order yeah. But you had 3 of them, and I didn't have mine, one that crashed, but there was guys at the field that happened.
Yeah.
But I think that was more with AM when we did before they went to FM.
Well, remember that radio control is nothing more than control line with the reliability removed.
Yeah. Well, what was really weird was I was watching a thing about Tesla, and he had proportional radio control, like at the 1901 some kind of fair, or what 1900 something fair, and they never used it until the 80s.
Wow.
You know that nobody. He showed it, but he used it in some kind of little steamboat he made.
Well, proportional came in the 70s, early 70s.
Yeah, but he actually designed that, and I didn't realize it was on TV about Hedy Lamarr. She came up with spread spectrum during World War II, and they thought she was nuts. And the military had it for years and never used it. So I looked it up, and sure as shit, you know, because they said that because it was a deal to where they could jam torpedoes. So she came up with a way so they couldn't jam the torpedoes, and then the military didn't use it. At least for like 30 years.
Well, you know, one of the things about radio is if you crash, you got to walk a great distance to pick up the airplane. But in control line, you get to drag it to you. You know, when you crash.
Yeah, it's one of the good things, isn't it, Max? Can you say hello, Max?
Hello.
Yeah,
Good to see it.
But
you're going to bring your plane in and show them? Bring your plane in.
Your airplane, man.
it was funny. We were at Brodex this year, and Banjock lost some kind of special part, a little bolt or something that was a certain length or whatever, and he lost it. And they're freaking out, you know. So Samantha says, I heard her over there, said, we got to get my dad. And then she's like, Dad, come over here. And I'm like, for what? She goes, he lost a screw, and you can always find that stuff. And I'm like, where did you walk? From where to where? He's like, there and like this, like that. I started walking it. And is that it? They're like, oh my God, how'd you find that little thing?
Well, you confirmed it for me. I always thought that Dad had a screw loose. You know?
Yeah.
Very good, very good.
Oh yeah, look at that.
All right, let me click that up for all the YouTube viewers.
Yeah, you're just putting the raffles on, aren't you?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
All right.
You're a stunt trainer, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It looks like it'll take a lick.
Yeah, we're building 3 ringmasters right now, and I've been cutting out, we're doing it from a plan, or I used a kit as a basis, so I've got all my leading edges all, oh, just knock the camera down there.
Yeah.
I'll put the camera back.
I'm getting
Maybe
dizzy.
control line models are dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've just been doing all of the leading, trailing edges and all cutting those out. We've basically kitted the ringmasters, and we're ready to start gluing them all together now, so we can be ready for the ringmaster-a-thon, eh? Problem is, every time we do it. Sorry?
When are you going to fly that?
Well, I don't know.
Maybe tomorrow. If you go and do the red on the roundels now, Max, and then we'll put some clear on it, and you can fly it tomorrow.
There you go.
There you go.
Report back to us on Monday how it went.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can post another video. We've posted a few videos of the boys flying and their mother flying. My wife's got a Skyray that she flies. I've posted a few videos of her flying. Yeah, you go take it in the kitchen and you can have a go on it after, Max.
Yeah. Get on your dad's butt. You have that thing ready to go for tomorrow.
Yeah.
When is the Ringmaster Fly-a-thon? That's in October, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about a month away. I can't remember the date, but it's getting closer. We've got to work a bit faster on our models.
All I've got is one of those little micros.
Somebody said this will be the last one. Is that true?
Oh, really? I hadn't heard that.
I don't know.
I haven't been on the Ringmaster website in ages.
Maybe I read it wrong, but somebody said this is the last one.
Oh, I imagine
Why
even
would
if
they quit doing it, I wonder.
I'm sure others will be keen to pick it up. It's just become such a huge international thing. It's like any postal contest. You've always got
On our Cox Engine forums, we've got the PT-19 Fly 'em if you got 'em marathon, and it's just forum wide. But
Fly them if you got enough rubber bands to put them back together.
oh yeah, man, Yeah, box of number 32 field-proof rubber bands, and you're in good shape.
I remember crashing those things, the rubber bands flying all over the field.
Yeah.
That's what I remember too. That was my first plane I flew.
That was a great trainer. After I demolished my Stuka and Mustang so badly that it couldn't be glued back together anymore, then Dad came home with a PT-19, and I finally, after going through so many rubber bands, was able to run out a full tank, and I was off from there, never looked back.
I thought that was a terrible plane. I thought it flew awful. Once I built my Carl Gorberg Little Wizard or Jumping Bean, I hated the Cox.
Well, there's no comparison, but it helps to put a killer bee on the PT-19 and jump off the ground without having to roll then.
There wasn't one damn airplane that Cox made that flew worth a shit.
That's true.
I disagree. I totally disagree.
Well, what did you like?
The ones that Larry Renger designed, those Cox Super Stunners, the BF.
Oh yeah, later on, they were a lot further along after.
But that's still Cox, and those things flew. They flew the whole pattern.
Yeah,
that Viper looked pretty capable. It was just underpowered.
Boom wings and stuff on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had the Viper and different.
Viper. I remember seeing that fly pretty good.
They should have put a better engine on it, though. That was terrible to build such a nice little plane and then underpower it like that.
They had a fly wing years ago too, way before the Cox Super Stunners. They had a little flying wing that flew pretty well.
Was that somebody made one called a Snark? Is that what that was?
No, I forgot the name of it. But
I still see Cox planes on the forums that I've never even heard of before. So there's lots of them.
Yeah, I got a ME 109 Super Stunter for Christmas, and I think it was 1979 or 1980. My mother bought me.
Blue wings and a black fuselage, right?
Yeah, my one had the hollow wing. The later ones had a solid foam wing, but the hollow wing went a lot better from what I've heard.
Yeah, it was lighter.
It had a good power to weight. The problem was,
brought like 60 of those things to the Nationals in 1974, and he coerced me into CDing a contest, and we got all the top, control line stunt flyers. We had Bob Gildini and Les McDonald and just everybody. He gave them out for free, and we had a contest, and we wrote it up in flying models, and we had a ball. And at the end of the contest, we had like a free-for-all where we put like 12 airplanes in the circle, and somebody did a loop in front of the crowd, and then there were airplanes going in on every quadrant of that circle, and blue and black flying all over the field. It was great.
It would have been spectacular.
Dennis Nunez just joined us. Hey, Dennis.
Hey, Dennis.
Good evening, everyone.
Hey, Dennis.
I like your trim schemes on your airplanes there, Dennis.
You like that?
They look vaguely familiar.
Nice looking planes.
Hey, I'm the biggest plagiarizer there is.
Well, that's a serious form of flattery, you know?
But you have to call Bob so you can get some bronze.
I'm not painting in bronze. They're red, white, and blue now.
Yeah, I know it. You got to go back to the bronze because that was always a Bob Hunt airplane, and I always appreciated that it was yours. Everyone knew who it was, and they can say what they want, but it was your color scheme.
Yeah, it was. You know,
it was, and it made it like special that it was yours. With the color combinations and stuff. And I always thought they looked great, but I guess I'm weird. I don't know.
Well, Billy didn't like the bronze, and that's exactly why I kept painting my airplanes that way, just to piss him off.
But I always liked it because you went out there and there's Bob's plane.
Yeah. Those days are over. I'm the bronze age is over. I don't know what I'm going to go to now. I'm gonna start a new trend. I don't know what it's going to be.
Pink. I got some here for you, Bob. If Samantha quits building, I got some pink you can put on your airplane.
If I fly a pink airplane, I got to fly with my pinky out of the handle. You know.
That's okay.
I don't want to do that.
I'll tell you what, though, that oh shit, the Chevy car one. The name, my brain. Not the Cavalier. Cup. Not. What plane did you name after a Chevy car?
Caprice.
Caprice. That guy that has the Caprice with the pink and stuff on it, that is a nice looking airplane.
He just passed away recently, Roger.
Oh, did he really?
Roger Barrett, yeah.
Oh, no kidding. I love that airplane.
Yeah, he was a great builder too, and a good flyer and a heck of a nice guy.
That was a beautiful airplane, and everybody's like, you think pink, but the way he had the color scheme done, I'm like, oh my God, that's gorgeous.
In red and black, it was really pretty.
Yeah.
Nice job on it. It was light and it flew great. He actually had two of them. He crashed one of them and they built another one just like it.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I mean, that was always, I didn't know him that well, but when you seen the airplane, you knew who it was.
Oh, yeah. And he used to win a lot of Concords and Classic with that, the best looking airplane. And he deservedly so. It was beautiful. It was a great builder and finisher.
But, yeah, so, you got to do a bronze one.
I don't think so.
Or at least put your name on it, as the pilot, put that in bronze. Just have something a little bit on there or whatever.
Just a little dash for old time's sake.
Yep. Just a teeny bit. But yeah, that's the same thing with me, Me and Samantha were talking about that. I got no imagination when it comes to how you can do this airplane. I have no idea.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Let me go back and look in the gallery at Pampa and then pick out shit I like and I'll put it on mine.
There's nothing new under the sun. We're all plagiarizing from each other, It doesn't matter. Yeah.
But yeah, there's certain designs that stand out and meet the test of time. I mean, it's like some cars that are designed. Some of them 30, 40 years later, there's something about it you love. Other ones, a guy had a BMW, and I think it was from the 90s, and it was a nice shape and everything, but it was like, God, with that design was so dated. It went out so fast.
Mm-hmm.
It was a deal where everybody liked that kind of car, and then it's like you look at it now and you're like, geez, who in the hell designed that?
Remember the paint schemes on the Fords back in the 50s? They had those two tones of black and reds. And
yeah.
They were pretty. The Vickies.
That was like in the 70s there, or the 60s, with Dodge and Plymouth, with their sublime green and I can't think of plum crazy purple.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. You be so many blocks away and you see it, one of them cars, you know exactly what it was. There was not same thing with the Fords. You seen that red and black and stuff. It was like you knew what it was.
Trademark colours. Really stood
Yeah,
out.
I had a couple of rolls of purple monocoat still in the wrapper that somebody gave me, and I bet somebody gave it to them. And how many times it's been passed around, I don't know. But when they were opening the education center up at Triple Tree, they were taking donations, and so I put together a whole box full of architectural tools and knives and saws, and I threw those purple rolls of monocoat in with it, thinking maybe somebody will finally use this before they give it away. And I had to leave before Wayne delivered my goods to the education center that day, and he said, man, there were a couple of kids in there building airplanes, and said my box of stuff was the hit of the party. They jumped on that purple monocoat as soon as it came in the door. So
oh yeah, I mean, that's like when Samantha was flying beginner and stuff, they had all the giveaway stuff. She was always grabbing, people had monocoat, whatever out there, the purple and the pink, and it's fun. No, no adult wanted or anyone, but the kids are like, oh my God, especially being a girl.
Some of those giveaways were amazing, and the amount of stuff they had out there. All the competitors would go through it. You're starting with first place, and then you pick out something, and then you go through again, and you go through again, and you go through again. Sometimes you get to go through 5 or 6 times, and pick up armloads of stuff.
Oh yeah, I got a, you know, like, was it Peacemaker? Was that
Yeah.
kind of like,
Yeah.
like Light Streak?
Yeah, Top Flight Peacemaker.
That's kind of Pathfinder-ish, isn't it?
No,
it's,
I think it's a Flight Streak that just has a full fuse.
Yeah, it's had a molded fuselage.
Yeah. Well, we still got that. Samantha got that, you know, and I was showing this one here. And we have never a Red Wing Junior combat and trainer. You know, this was made in Michigan, and that's why we've never did nothing with that. But I mean, there was so many kits that she got. It's just, we still have them downstairs. Magicians and Barnstormers and this and that, you know. I gave one to this Barnstormers, what I gave to Jeff Trexler, and you know, because we just ain't never going to build them.
They're all good vintage models though, and given enough time, enough years, you can chip away at them slowly. I still think those vintage models have a big appeal. Just a windy weather muck around model, they're great for general flying. And for the boys, they're great because they can enter classic aerobatics, the sort of the novice aerobatics, and if they're a scale model, like the Yak 9, then you can enter in scale as well. So you can do 3 events with 1 model. So you can save 2 more models in the car. It's the dual purpose model.
I plan on moving here within the next 6 to 8 months. So I wanna downsize my house and stuff. So I want to start getting rid of a lot of things. You know, I always figured that I could melt down my glow engines.
You won't be able to give away those pink airplanes.
The pink ones? Yeah. I won't be able to give them away. I won't be able to get rid of them. Samantha killed me if I try to get rid of different.
I have a soft spot for the Magician because I've learned to fly inverted with my Magician. I built 2 Magicians when I was a kid. I love that plane.
So, Dennis, what you been doing for fun since our last visit?
Trying to get ready for another contest coming up the end of this month.
Oh, what's that?
The Meet and Meet contest up in Woodland. So,
all right. That's the last tune-up before your Golden State, right?
Yep.
All right.
So,
Is that one
I've been having engine trouble on my big Circulus and found out what the problem was. So I think I got that.
3 of those things with that paint scheme.
That's because I only buy 3 types of paint, 3 colors of paint, so I got to use them up.
You keep them all looking very nice.
White, is that what do they call that? Is it Cessna white? I can't remember what color white it is. White, and I got Madrid red and black. Yeah, so that's what they had. That's what I used all the time. Now I'm out of white, so I got that. My Gladiator came out with. I used the Insignia blue. Yeah.
So what was wrong with your Circulus 60?
It kept going lean on me in the air, and I had this problem before. And the first time it happened, it was a glow plug, and I switched the plug out, and it worked fine after that. But for the last, in fact, I didn't fly it at the Ted Goyer contest because I just couldn't get it to run right. So I flew the Gladiator in advance, which flew fine. I may do that down in Golden State still. I don't know yet.
What motor, what engine or what you have in that 60?
An old Super Tiger 60. And what I found out had happened was I have a tongue muffler on it, or I'm sorry, a flow-through muffler on it, and the muffler fitting, the muffler pressure fitting came loose.
Oh, okay.
And I was losing pressure. And
so I see.
So got that all. I used some of that copper. What is it? Permatex copper stuff, silicon. Sealed it in there. Got it all locked in there, and seemed to have solved the problem. So should be good to go.
So are you bringing your Gladiator down low? I mean, I know it's a new airplane. You just built it. Are you bringing it down? Are you bottoms low with that new plane?
Oh yeah. I mean that like I said, I may be flying that in advance.
All right. Okay.
I'll bring them both down. I haven't made my mind. So I still got to get the Circulus, trimmed out the way I want it, which I'm pretty close to it. But I sure like the way the Gladiator flies. I may just fly it.
Yeah, I haven't finished my repairing my Vector. I have a Vector R that I flew 5 years ago, and so I'm hoping to see which one flies better, either the Vector or the Strega. I might bring both, but I'm trying to figure out which one will fly the best.
Well, well, I know it'll help me make my decision. If it's windy, I'll fly the Circulus because it flies great in the wind.
Yeah.
72-ounce plane has no problem in the wind.
Yeah. 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 If it's windy, then it'd be my.
But the pilot does.
Yeah, I got to gain about 10 more pounds.
As long as you don't have wind up, that's the main problem in the wind. If you've got wind up on a model, then it's terrible.
Yeah.
If you've got that under control, it's fine.
What?
That
Truly,
will pull you over.
What do you think the pull is on an airplane? Say a 60-ounce airplane going in a circle. Oh, Bob's gone. I was kind of wondering if anybody's ever put like a digital meter and really see what
it pulls.
What it pulls.
To hear Bob talk, you can put them about where you want them.
Yeah, Bob said he has the lightest touch on his planes. His planes hardly pull, he said.
Yeah.
I imagine that's all of them. You know, Saturn is well, here he's back. Here we go.
Sorry about that. I clicked the wrong button on the computer.
I've done that before.
How much pull, like on a 60-ounce airplane, 70-ounce airplane, what do you think they actually pull on the lines? 5 pounds, 10 pounds?
Oh, I would say at least 10 pounds. Yeah, I've had airplanes pull so hard that they've broken the lines, you know. Yeah, I mean, the lighter the airplane, obviously, the less it's going to pull.
Right.
Dennis,
but I just kind of really, I always wanted to hook up.
Just so in case you ever want a trim scheme, Dennis, there's one for you.
Let me see it.
That looks very familiar.
Oh, that looks good.
Yeah, I copied your Circulus there, and but I did it.
That's the, is that the Saturn?
No, that's the Usama.
Oh, that's the Usama?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's nice looking, Bob.
That's Gene Schaefer.
I like those twin rudders.
Yeah, and they fly good too. They
twin rudder planes.
And they give you more elevator authority. It doesn't allow the air to spill off, and you get tremendous amount of elevator power out of them. Not so much it's not touchy or sensitive. It just has a lot of power to turn the airplane. And that airplane flew exceptionally well in the wind and turned very well in the wind.
Interesting.
Yeah, that Alan Brickhouse's last plane was built with a elevator like that, stabilizer, with the, I don't know what
was that called? Was that the Triumph, or was it the other one?
It was Fanfare.
Or Fanfare. He had a bunch of them. He had the Olympus, and he had a bunch of them.
Yeah, I think I don't know who he sent it to. One of our club guys. I guess he sent it to Watt to build, and then Will and Wayne to fly and evaluate it. And then it bit the bad weather the last January of the KOI and came back in a grocery bag, and Will redesigned it and called it the Troubadour, but it doesn't have the same type of stab on it anymore.
But that Usama is going to be probably Samantha's next airplane. It won't be Usama, but it's going to be from the numbers, and
it's a good airplane. The wing is
everything's going to be in line and stuff like that. And
I agree. That would be a very, very good wing to start with. We're using that wing. My new airplane is basically that wing. It's the same root airfoil, a slightly different tip airfoil, but that twin that Frank McMillan is flying and the one that Frankie Imbriaco is flying is basically the same airplane with different clothes on the mannequin. That has that wing in it. You know?
Yeah, I like that wing and and stuff. And I'm just going to put everything in line and not have much of a side load on it for fuselage. I'm going to make some kind of a mold or something that is going to be all rounded and and I think that
it's a darn good wing. It really is.
I mean, if you look at that one Yashenko airplane, that BG or whatever, that's what it kind of reminds me of. It has a different rudder and stuff on it, but how it comes down narrow in the back and you don't have all that damn side area when it's windy and stuff like that. And
what you holding up, Gerald?
It's the Paul Delgado, I think it is, B25 Mitchell. It's got the twin rudders. I was thinking it's got the undercarriage that you could retract back, like on a P38, I think. It's actually got quite a few good features as a stunter if you built it electric. It was quite a small area. It was only like 500 square inch area. Oh, there's the picture.
Is that the Paul Delgado one?
Yeah, Paul Delgado. That actually, it would be neat to update it just with the modern airfoil and electrics. And then you could fly it in scale as well as stunt. If you're using electric, you could just put your 2.4 gigahertz controller and.
I don't want to be flying any airplane that has a crew of more than one.
Well, one if it needed to. But no, I thought that would be a neat model as a stunt scale subject where I can take one model to the Nats and fly 2 events. I can fly.
Like I always say about the Strega, it'd be very impressive to see that much balsa wood in the air at one time.
Yeah, you probably seen that sweeper fly, didn't you?
I flew the sweeper.
Oh, did you really?
I cut the wing and the tail for the second sweeper.
Wow.
Okay.
I think Bob's got one of those in his shop, if I'm not mistaken.
I keep one at the airport.
Huh?
I keep one at the airport.
Bob might have given that one to Triple Tree.
What did that damn thing weigh, Bob?
A lot.
You know,
I don't know. The original one wasn't all that bad. It was an I-beamer, and I think it was in the 80-ounce range or something. I'm not sure of that, but it wasn't. I flew that airplane, and man, my arm hurt for a month. You know, that thing pulled hard. You don't want to arm wrestle with Wendy.
And then then he had that second one that hangs that Brodak, that blue one. That was just a monster. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe anybody.
The one that was at Brodak, I think, was actually, was that the I-beamer or was that the foamer?
I think it's the foamer.
Okay, the foamer was blue. He refinished the original one and was white with, I think it was navy blue and red or something. He refinished the original one, and I think it got crashed. I know that Derek Berry flew it, and I flew it. The original one when he first got back into stunt. And he flew that back in '64, and I remember watching that at contests back then in '64. What an amazing airplane! I mean, about the time the whole airplane got turned to be into a flat, you had to start turning for the next flat because the length of the airplane was the length of the flat. You know, he gets full marks for chutzpah.
Would that have been a plane that would have been good on like 80 or 85 foot lines? It would have flown better.
At least, yeah, it would have flown very well on 80-foot lines.
Except that they wouldn't be allowed, would they?
And I think he actually, if I'm not mistaken, I could be mistaken. I think I remember him saying he did put it on real long lines and it flew great.
Which one?
It was a good flying airplane. There was no doubt about it. It flew well.
The sweeper.
Yeah, sweeper.
Which one was the one? Models. There was one in flying models. Was that the second model? There was one that was like 1,100 square inch area and 100 and something ounces. Was that the second one?
It was the second one. The foamer, the one he used at the 80 Nationals. We went out to the 80 Nationals together. We drove out together, and he had an 8-track stereo system in his van.
All right.
And he only had one tape, and it was Fiddler on the Roof. Route 80. Singing Tradition, and then the airplane called Tradition. And that was the backstory of that. It was because of us singing Tradition all the time. And that was the Gator Nationals. You remember, Steve, when he used to have all the alligators in the margins of Stunt News when he was the editor?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And that game, we stopped at a place, and we picked, like a gas station, and he went in, and there was this little alligator heads on a stick, and you had little triggers, and it would make the alligator mouth open and close. And he became the alter ego for Wendy that week was the alligator. He'd take it everywhere he went, and he'd be taking straws out of people's drinks and stuff with the alligator. He was hilarious. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, that was one thing. You see videos of when you guys stayed at that one, was it Red Carpet Inn or whatever?
Oh my gosh, yeah. When we threw Bob Barron in the pool.
Yeah.
He got out of his car and we threw him in the pool. He went back inside, got changed, and we threw him in again.
Yeah, I've seen that video.
You guys had a lot of fun, but I mean, It was like seeing a crashed airplane go in somebody's room and everybody's in there.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the airplane came out that flew afterwards.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, one of them came out that won the nationals once. It was Parsky, Kenny Perzicki's son, little Kenny, and he had a stunt machine. It was at the '82 nationals, and he crashed it, and everybody descended on it like locusts and fixed the thing, and he went out and won the nationals with it.
Wow. Yeah, I know. It's hard to believe that.
I was in junior, but still.
Yeah. It's just hard to believe you guys could put some of that shit back together.
Oh man, we had some fun. We had a lot of fun.
Well, your airplane you got it back together, didn't you? That one that the little whirlwind got, and you end up.
Yeah. Brett Buck and I and Bill Demaro and I forgot who else, Buddy Weeder. We all went back to the motel room and fixed that thing, and I went out that night and flew it, and it flew better than it flew before it crashed.
Yeah, the next day I'm talking to you, going, it flies better than it did before. I'm like,
yeah, I missed qualifying by half a point that year to the top 5. But I rebuilt that airplane. That following Easter, I got that airplane off the wall and stripped it all down and put a new top block, a bottom block on it, completely rebuilt it, and went back to the nationals with it the next year in a different paint scheme, and actually took 3rd with it. So maybe if I crash it again, I can get 1st.
Yeah, there you go. Just keep moving up.
It was the paint scheme that was on it.
Yep.
Very nice.
That's pretty.
Yeah, that was crazy that year with them dust devils.
Yeah, I was walking Bobby McDonald's handle out. He was getting ready to fly, and we were walking out, and all of a sudden this dust devil hit, and everybody's screaming, and everybody ran for their airplanes, but nobody ran for mine. I was out in the center of the circle, and I watched it get picked up and get rolled down the runway.
Oh, man.
And Bobby just looked at me. He said, "That was your airplane." I said, "Yeah, I know, but you got a flight to do here." And the judges looked at me like, so what can I do? I can't fix it now, So we got Bobby up and running.
Yeah, I didn't know that was your plane. I seen it happen.
Oh my God!
I was like, "Oh my God, your airplane's bouncing down."
And the only saving grace was that was after my first flight, and I put in a really good first flight. I had a high score. I didn't need another flight. So I was able to go back and fix it, go back the next day and get another good flight in, made the top 20, and just missed making the top 5 that year. That was really heartbreaking.
That was like when we were in France there, and Samantha flew into that dust devil, even in the corner of the field.
Mm-hmm.
I thought her wing fell off her airplane.
Wow, yeah, those things are out in Tucson. You hit them all the time.
And yeah, and she come out of that. And she's looking at me, and I'm like, and she comes back into the wing over again and flew it. At least it had come in a ways, and it still disrupted her airplane. And I'm like, stop, because I thought that something had majorly failed on the airplane.
Yeah.
And then Chris Rudd's like, it's a dust devil, it's a dust devil. Everybody's screaming. The German guys trying to fly on this side of the field over there to stay away from the dust devil, fly it high, and
I've flown many of them and survived, fortunately, but man, they're incredible.
Yeah, I think last year at Golden State, there was Dust Devil and it broke Brett Buck's plane.
Was it on the ground or was he flying when it did?
On the ground.
Oh, okay.
Picked it up and broke his plane.
Yeah, sure. That Crossfire and its original paint scheme. Let me see if I can find that.
Yeah, you're gonna have to make up like little sandbags with some rope or something soft, go over the wings, just to something like that comes up and can't pick the airplane up off the ground.
That's a good idea. Yeah, why don't you make it?
What's that?
Yeah, why don't you invent it? Why don't you make some?
No, just some little bags.
Yeah, with a string and hold to go across the wing. Yeah, that might work.
I got some bags of shot I could tie string to, but maybe 25 pounds a piece.
Yeah, that probably work.
Yeah, if you had 100 pounds out there holding your airplane down, that'd probably be good.
How about some bungee cords and tent pegs? That would do the job, wouldn't it? Without all the weight.
Well, I actually could, now I loop something over the fuselage and put something heavy on it, like the flight box, to keep them from doing that. You never know it's going to happen, you know.
You know, that's a good idea. We should do that at the contest. Just bring it just in case.
Well, if you want, Charles, at work we got these like 1.5-foot lag bolts, and you could just screw it down through the wing right into the asphalt and hold it there.
Yeah, here's a picture of that airplane.
Something Dennis probably should be saying.
Here's a picture of that same airplane just before I left for the Nats that year.
Oh wow, that is pretty.
I love that.
It's the same airplane as that red, white, and blue, an exact same airplane.
Wow, that is
Like
pretty.
forward canopies.
I like how
That's
you
pretty
did
cool.
the wheel pants. I haven't seen wheel pants with that with the wire going through it. How you have it kind of built up there.
Yeah, canted in. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
I always liked that. Bob Gialdini used to do that, and I always liked that. So I started doing that years and years ago.
It's a good idea. I like that.
And the nice thing about it is you can split the wheel pant down the center. That had removable halves on it, so you can change the wheels.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
You gotta find that Flying Models magazine article for me on how to make wheel pants.
I think it was in Stunt News, but yeah, there was one in Flying Models too, but that was a million years ago. You know.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a good airplane. Though. It's still a good airplane. I sold it and then bought it back.
That must be a good airplane if you do that.
It is a good airplane.
Yeah. To buy it back. Wow.
Yeah.
You hear that happening with custom cars and motorbikes where people miss their old custom car or bike and they've got to have it back. You got to always have to break it down and buy it back.
Well, I decided I wanted to fly again a little bit, and then the fastest way to do that was to get one of my airplanes back. And now that I have it, I'm not flying it. I'm waiting for the Igor system, the active timer system, and everything, and the props and all that stuff before I don't want to go out and fly the old system in it. I want to fly the new system.
Now, did you custom order a front mount?
I haven't ordered it yet. What is it? The 25th. What do they call it? What's the number?
15 something or other.
1520, 1519, 1520.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were gonna redo the whole thing and put a rear mount or order the motor that should be front mount.
The only problems I've ever had in electric were with rear mounted motors. I know everybody else is having good luck with them, but I didn't have good luck. And since I switched to front mounts, I've had zero trouble. So I'm gonna stay with front mounts. Yeah. I think I'm gonna have to bag it for tonight because I got company coming tomorrow, and I got a lot of work to do tomorrow.
I was just about to announce it because it's 2 minutes before 12. So I guess I'll call it a night. And y'all go out and do something fun this weekend so you can come back and tell us about it on Monday.
Yeah.
And all you tubers, I gotta find Cavalier plans far. We connected through email a little while ago, so appreciate all you fellas hanging around with us, and all you guys that come in on video too, and we appreciate it. Had a good time. Kind of a laid back Friday night. So until next week, fair winds, tight lines, and we'll see y'all later.
Hope to see you guys.
Everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.